Agencies Drinking Beer is brought to you by Proposify, software that helps you deliver beautiful proposals in the cloud and close more deals.
Welcome to the 56th episode of Agencies Drinking Beer. On today's show, we're talking to Jim Hohl and Lucas Garvin from Visify, based out of New York City, and they're going to tell us about how they built recurring revenue for their agency and why they partner with companies like Digital Marketer and Infusionsoft. Hello there, Kevin.
You like saying that. Hello there, Kyle. The hello.
Hello there.
Yes.
Jen said that she's been listening to podcasts recently, and everybody introduces themselves at the beginning, and like the arrogant douches we are, we never introduce our names. We don't say, hi, you're listening to Kevin and Kyle.
Really?
She didn't call us arrogant douches.
Okay,
I
you
added
did. Okay.
that.
Oh, that was good.
Anyway, I'm Kyle Racky.
And I'm Kevin Springer.
Yes. For those first-time listeners, we're going to do this every time now. Apparently.
Really?
I don't know.
That's fine.
People don't know us. Okay, so we have an interview coming up with Jim and Lucas from Visify, and I think you guys are going to enjoy that. It kind of touches on what we talked about, I think, an episode or two ago about partnering with software giants. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. First of all, though, I want to talk about this, and it's about how do you actually engage with people online when you want their mentorship or you want their feedback or advice. So I'm at the risk of sounding, again, like an arrogant douche. I'm just going to use an example of recently. I've had a few people reach out to me, maybe 5 to 10 in the last couple of weeks. Cold email from LinkedIn or somewhere, just a cold email, and they want to either get a coffee and pick my brain, or they want a phone call to get feedback or advice on their startup. Now, I like talking to people, and I'm flattered as well, because I don't think I'm that smart, but some people, maybe they do. And the only thing is, though, that obviously there's only so much time in a day, and you know, for me, my business, my friends, my family, my kids, that's, you know, that they fill up the jar first, and everything else kind of fits around that. So when you're going to go, you know, if somebody you know obviously reaches out and says, hey, let's get a coffee, I want to pick your brain, no problem, we're already friends. But you don't already have that relationship with people, it's a terrible way to go about it. Because I don't know, I think you need to offer something in return. I just think that's the way we are as humans. It's like, why am I going to like put a slot in my day and stop doing other important things for somebody I don't know, right? Is it douchey?
Yeah, it's a hard one. I agree with you in one way that you definitely, people's time is important. It's like, I love that Seinfeld episode when the sales guy calls and he says, listen, can I get your phone number and your name and I'll call you around dinner time, something to that effect.
Yeah.
So I understand people's time. On the other side, I mean, you never know until you try. I mean, you did a great job. You've done a great job reaching out to people and kind of dripping and you know, with some people that have really helped our business out.
Right. Well, I think what I do, though, that's a little bit differently, and maybe why it's worked out sometimes, is because I don't just ask for a favor. Like, I think when you approach somebody, when you ask if they want to be on your podcast, I think that it's actually like there's mutual benefit there.
Absolutely.
Nobody's doing anybody a favor.
Agreed.
We're helping promote you. You know, we get, I don't know, close to 5,000 downloads a month on the podcast. It's not the biggest podcast in the world, but it's got a listenership, right? So, you know, if you reach out to somebody and say, hey, I love, you know, what you say about this or what you've talked about or what you've blogged about, can you jump on the podcast and chat? I mean, yeah, it's great. We get to connect with them, but also they get a little bit of promotion. So there's mutual benefit. Same thing like you had asked earlier when we were recording about Ben Yoskovitz. So he's the guy on our board now. And I'd sort of nurtured a relationship with him for quite a few years. and this is the key, nurtured a relationship. Didn't come to him and say, do you want to be on our board, right? Saw him speak at a conference, came up after, and he was promoting a book that he had written or co-written called Lean Analytics. That was where I first heard of him, and I loved everything he was saying in the talk. So afterwards, I just walked up to him and said, hey, I'm Kyle. Nice to meet you, Ben. Loved your talk. Going to check out the book. That's it. No ask. Read his book. Talked about the book. Talked about how great it was. Offered to write a blog post, or actually I think he offered or asked me to, promoting his book on his blog. And then said, hey, can we grab a coffee? I want to tell you about the startup that I'm working on. You know what I mean?
Oh, big time.
You do that. I mean, it's called nurturing a relationship.
You build a relationship, absolutely.
You don't go in and for the ass, just give me something right now.
No, I know. And I'm getting those LinkedIn things as well. I mean, It's amazing how many people reach out. And LinkedIn's great in one way, but when you're on the receiving end, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So, I mean, the point of this isn't to say don't ever ask anybody for anything. Stay, just be insular and introverted. It's that there's a way to go about this thing. And also, if you're on the other end, I'm sure there's plenty of people listening who get asked the same thing. And how do you handle it? Are you a jerk if you don't say yes to everybody who wants a phone call or a meeting? Here's how I approach it. And actually, before I say that, I wanted to say that the reason I even thought about this was there was a post on Medium from somebody named Hannah Brooks Olson. And the headline was, "No, you cannot have a few minutes of my time." And her point was that she's actually a consultant. So when somebody says, hey, can we jump on the phone? I've got a bunch of questions to ask you. I want your advice on. It's just like, that's my business. Like, here's my consulting fee. That's how she makes money.
It'd be like running into a chiropractor somewhere. Hey, can I just lay down here? Can you just adjust me?
Yeah, well, that's okay. No, but we have to put you through the system. But it's just a quick little, just fix my neck.
Yeah, just fix my neck. Come on.
So, that's really annoying. And she says, okay, sure, here's my rate, kind of thing. And then she either expects they'll just bugger off and not ask. Some people just outright bypass that $150 an hour thing. They just go, okay, cool, here are my questions. And they don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's what I've been doing, and it's actually worked out really good. There's if people haven't heard of it, there's a site called Clarity. Clarity.fm is the URL. It was actually started by Dan Martell, if you've heard of him. And basically you can register and become an expert on something, whatever it is you're an expert on. Once you get approved, you can set your rate, and you've got your landing page. You can put, some videos and some reviews and stuff. And this is exactly what I've been doing. People reached out on LinkedIn. If I don't know them, never heard of them, they're just asking for free advice. I just say, sure, I'm happy to chat. Here's my link to Clarity to book a call. And Clarity does the sell for me. I don't have to mention money. It says through Clarity, enter your credit card, and this is how much it is per minute.
It's amazing.
And I've actually, I don't know, I made like $100 yesterday just from like 2 15, 20-minute phone calls.
Nice.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you don't seem like a jerk. But the thing is, if they go ahead and register, then that's awesome. That means they actually value your time. It's not just, they're not expecting something for nothing.
Oh, that's great.
And if they don't, they just don't book the call.
We'll have to link to Clarity in the notes, show notes. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that.
It's a great app.
So that's if you're on the receiving end, that's what I recommend. If you do want to go and try, and you should be doing that. I think everybody should be doing influencer outreach and trying to get people that are more experienced and are smart in certain areas. Get those people in your favor, because often they're very nice. They're just people, right? I remember I was really nervous about asking Paul Boag to be on the show because I always thought he was so great and smart. Turns out he's not smart at all. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's super smart. But I just, I was really nervous about asking him. I probably hesitated for like 6 months to ask him to be on the show. And then finally I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm just asking him. And he's like, yeah, sure. So, I don't know. But the key is offer some value. And so that value doesn't always have to be money. Sometimes it's just like spend a couple weeks on somebody's blog, leave a few meaningful comments, or maybe tweet it out and use their @ and show them that you care about them and you're not just trying to just give me something right now. Mm-hmm. That's what I recommend.
Like it.
Let's move on now to our interview with Jim Hohl and Lucas Garvin. I'd like to welcome Jim Hohl and Lucas Garvin to the show today. They run Visify out of New York. They're a digital marketing agency that helps grow small businesses. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi. Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being on. We were actually introduced through, we've mentioned Marcus on the show a few times before. We always refer to him as a cuddly teddy bear, and he introduced us both. So he's a popular guy. Everybody knows him.
That's for sure.
And you guys are right on Broadway Street, are you, in New York?
We're on West Broadway. It's a couple blocks over from Broadway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that rent.
Yeah. It's always a shock when we hear rent in other places. Like, what? We could have like a closet or 6 rooms. Okay.
Yeah. But you get to be in New York, though, so it makes up for it, I'm sure. So we're going to talk about kind of, what you guys are up to, what your business is all about, and how you leverage partnerships in your business. But first, maybe just take us back a little bit, because you have a very similar story to Kevin and me in a way, because we used to run a web design agency. We struggled with getting recurring revenue from clients and sort of trying to compete with much cheaper alternatives to build websites. And that's kind of why we started Proposify. And that's one way we're similar. So, I mean, you guys have a similar story. So can you talk about that a little bit? Jim, you used to run a web design business back in the day.
Yeah, I had a web design and development business for about 8 years. And one of the biggest issues that I struggled with at that time was getting recurring revenue. So when, Lucas and I met actually during that time. So he came to me as my friend's nephew, and my friend introduced us and said, my nephew's coming to New York for the summer and needs something to do during the day. He does something webby, don't know exactly what. I know you do, so maybe he can do something for you. And so Lucas came up and introduced me to the idea of SEO as an option for our clients. And I'd never actually offered it. I was kind of skeptical of it. At the time, there was a lot of black hat stuff going on in SEO and, the listing of the keyword 1,000 times on the page. And I was very skeptical of it. But within a week of being my quote unquote intern, he actually got us a client in SEO and said, this is an interesting approach. And so we did some SEO work together over the next couple of years as he finished and graduated high school. And then we decided to do something together after he decided not to pursue the typical route and go to college and decided to start his own business. And one of my criteria was absolutely has to have recurring revenue. It can't be chasing after projects. It has to include something like SEO. But at the time, SEO was not going to be our focus, but we set on marketing.
Yeah. So talking about that partnership a little bit more, this is another way that we're very similar, is that when I wasn't quite as young as Lucas, but I was, I think, 23 or 24 when Kevin and I met at an agency, and we hit it off really well. Kevin is, I'm not sure if you can tell, but Kevin's 87 years old.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I do a lot of running and I eat a lot of vegetables.
Yeah, he's just immortal. No, Kevin was 20 years older than me. And we've now been partners for almost 10 years. Yeah, I suppose the ratio hasn't changed. The ratio has changed, but anyway. So yeah, we had a very similar partnership, and I think because of the age difference, I mean, in one sense, I don't think it mattered, but in another way, I think it brought, we brought sort of a yin and yang to the partnership. Did you guys find the same thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a really interesting experience.
Yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, it's a bit humbling. So, working with someone like Lucas, who, I wish I had taken that path. It would have been a very different, life path for me to have gone into business. At the time, it just wasn't possible. My parents were both entrepreneurs, and so to me, it always kind of scared me a little bit to go into business for myself because it was always a little rocky. I don't think they were the best entrepreneurs. They loved it, but there weren't the resources that are available. At the time I thought about going into it, it just wasn't an option.
Have you found that, so, you're going up and you're pitching clients and winning work, and I think I experienced this a little bit more when I was younger. I'm old and crusty now, so I'm like almost 30. Well, I'm getting older.
See, I'm
almost
52,
30.
and he says that stuff. Come on.
I'm pushing 33 now, but so Lucas, you don't want to turn into me. It's a bad path. But no, I'm kidding. My point in saying that is that I found when I was in my 20s, I felt like I maybe had to prove myself to people to be taken seriously by a client who may be in their 30s or 40s or 50s, and they're like, what does this kid know? Why am I going to pay you thousands of dollars to help me? Have you found the same thing, Lucas?
I actually haven't, and there's a couple reasons for that. The first being that by the time I had met Jim, I actually had been selling marketing services to brick and mortar small businesses in 2 different cities that I lived in my childhood for at least 2 years or so by that time. And what I found was that because it was my passion, because it was something that I was so in love with and interested in, that in and of itself gave me the confidence that I needed to, know I know what I'm talking about. I know I can help this person. I can deliver value to them. I can deliver value to their business. And really what it was about was I really loved seeing people succeed, and being able to be a part of that was even more special for me. So working with small businesses was something that I became very passionate about, and especially helping them grow and helping them see sort of the results of a growing business, whether it be, with their family or, what have you. It was really special to me. So it gave me the confidence I needed.
If I can just interject too, I think also you can't compare Halifax to New York. New York's it's a younger, more progressive city in a lot of ways than Halifax, Nova Scotia. And to Kyle's point too, we'd be talking about him. His specialty was, design, especially at the beginning. He was really focused on design and user experience and whatnot. And, he'd present designs, and then I'd get the phone call because I was the older looking dude, and maybe a little gray. And I'm like, no, you need to talk to Kyle. Yeah, but aren't you the owner? Actually, he's one of the owners as well. And actually, it's his design. So why don't you talk to him? But I think it's just this area too, let's face it.
I feel like every once in a while we get people like that. I mean, I feel like the great thing about, you mentioned yin and yang, is that there are people that will identify with me, being the older one, and they'll come to me. And then there are people that are really attracted to Lucas's, energy, and the fact that they think, oh, it's internet, it's something online, it must be the younger guy probably knows it better. So there's always, room for both, which I think is great.
Yeah, and sort of opens you up to a bigger pool of clients too.
Exactly.
So speaking of your clients, notice on your website it mentioned that you'd worked with Subway and HP and some really big companies in the past, but really Visify, when it says what you do, it says that you really focus on small businesses and startups. So maybe talk to me about why did you decide to kind of focus on small businesses? I think you mentioned like minimum of 300K in revenue and up. Why go after them? Why not go after the Subways and HP for Visify?
Well, I mean, the reason we refer to them on our site is because we want to show that, we do have the experience working with big companies, and what we want to do is translate that into working with small businesses and give them the same benefits of, an agency that a Subway or an HP would use, but without having to spend that kind of money. And I don't know, for me personally, I enjoy seeing the impact on small businesses. When we can generate, another income stream for somebody, or we can, provide a way for them to leave a job or something like that. That's awesome. And that kind of impact doesn't happen at HP or Subway. I mean, they're happy with the work, they hit their numbers or whatever, but it's not the same kind of impact.
Yeah. And where you wanted, the reason you started Visify was to make it a marketing company that you can get recurring revenue from. Do you find that's easier with small businesses to say, hey, just pay us a monthly fee versus, this big lump sum project?
Yeah, actually. And the reason for that is that we sort of position our services as a team augmentation type service, if you will. So most of the companies that come to us, they've got either a co-founder or a CEO or only a marketing director who's responsible for all of their marketing. So we sort of position ourselves as their extended marketing team, and they come to us for consulting and strategy to help them get clear on what they need, and then our team to actually execute in the areas of expertise that they don't have, and with more with a little bit more expertise and a lot faster than they probably could do it on their own.
So they're kind of at a point where they can't, if you're doing, I guess, between 300K and a million, and I'm sure you guys work with bigger companies, but just using them as sort of a baseline for a very small business, they can't afford, a full-time marketing team. So it's probably more cost effective to get you guys to kind of sort of come in and partner with them, and then they don't have to go out and try to, try to hire for those roles when it's just not their area of expertise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times people come to us. We've actually picked up a couple of clients who their original intention was to just, for example, learn AdWords. They're like, I need to learn AdWords. Can you give me some, help me out, answer a couple questions. And as it turns out, they didn't want to learn AdWords. They wanted the result of what having a great AdWords campaign implemented would be. And once you sort of positioned it as, sort of reframed it for them as, well, why do you want to learn AdWords? And, what is the goal? And do you have the time to learn AdWords? And as it turned out, no, they didn't really want to. It was just that that's what they immediately thought of was the solution to the problem. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, you're Google partners, and you do AdWords. You do a lot of kind of, from what it looks like, a lot of different stages of the marketing funnel, from lead gen to conversion. You also partner with other companies. You partner with Infusionsoft, with Digital Marketer, with ConsolePay. Let's maybe talk about each of those sort of individually. So I think we've talked on the show a few times about Infusionsoft. We've been to PartnerCon. They're basically a SaaS product that helps with marketing automation. I mean, that's you could probably give a better elevator pitch than I did, but maybe talk about Infusionsoft a little bit. Like, how did you guys find them? Why did you decide to partner with them, and how does that actually play into your business?
At the time that we were originally introduced to Infusionsoft, it was through a business coach that we'd hired at the time. And by the time that we decided to become an Infusionsoft partner, we'd actually been a customer of Infusionsoft for several years and had been using it extensively to grow our own business. And we just saw that, even in our own business, as at the same size of business or sort of development level of business that we were looking to target, how beneficial it was to bring process automation, to bring sales automation and marketing automation into our business. And we knew that, with our experience in using Infusionsoft ourselves, and with the experience of becoming an Infusionsoft certified partner, not only could we continue to deliver these services, to our clients, but to really amp it up to the next level. And it would also position us differently inside of the Infusionsoft market to help with sales, et cetera.
So, for those who don't know, like listeners who may not have heard of Infusionsoft, I mean, they're really a kind of, in a way, an all-in-one platform for small businesses that do everything from they're your CRM, they're your your email drips and email marketing to the payment end of it. Like, you can actually purchase through their software. How were you guys using it for yourself to generate leads and nurture them and all that kind of stuff?
So we use quite a bit of Infusionsoft at this point. I use the sales pipeline feature, when you talked about the CRM piece, for tracking sales. My role within the business is more on the sales and business development partnership side. So I use that pretty extensively for that piece. We use it for sending out campaigns to our clients. We use it for capturing leads from web forms. So we use we've sold things on it. We don't generally sell our core services through it, but we sell, say, for example, tickets to events or signups for webinars, things like that. So yeah, we pretty much use every aspect of Infusionsoft at this point.
Cool. Well, and then you get to know it really well, so you can help other people learn how to use it and get them trained up on it. Do you get a lot of people that are coming to you specifically for Infusionsoft, going, hey, you guys are a partner. I need help getting this sort of set up and customized for my needs?
We have had a couple people come for just that. We tend to get a lot more people on the lead generation side of things, where they're looking to generate more traffic or more leads on the front end. And then we say, hey, well, there's 95% of your leads that aren't going to buy from you on the first touch. What are you going to do about those? So then that's where Infusionsoft can come in.
And now you guys co-hosted an event with them just recently. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we had a couple events with them last week. And one was sort of unofficial. We actually are now heading up the New York user group for Infusionsoft. It wasn't a part of that official core of events, but we did that at the beginning of the week. And then we did a partner recruitment event with them for, they're really looking to make a big push into New York because the market here is really, they're a West Coast based company. They've got a lot of traction. They're around the world, not to knock them. They're worldwide, but they're for some reason they're concentrated on the West Coast more so in the US than they are in New York. And there's just this huge market here. So they wanted to come and do an event to recruit partners here. And as a partner who sort of, is used to doing events, not many marketing companies get out there and, speak. We've spoken on a lot of stages, and as sponsors, we run our own events. So I guess they just saw us as a good fit for helping them kick off some events in New York. And then we also had an event of our own that was more focused on lead generation, and Infusionsoft came and supported us at that event.
So, it sounds like you really use events as sort of one of your lead generation tools for yourself to get out there, get in front of people, establish your authority, and get people interested in your services. Where did you sort of, where did you come to that point where you go, hey, we want to start doing events? Event management on its own is a very, it's a skill that you have to learn. How did you, learn that skill?
Absolutely. We actually started by sort of learning how to speak in the first place. And I think that applied more to me than it did to Jim, given his extensive experience in business prior to our partnership. But I had to actually learn how to speak first. So went through a speaker training program. We did several speaking sponsorships, several local free speaking opportunities, et cetera, before we ever decided, okay, now we're ready to host an event. And once we got to that point, it just made it that much easier.
So speaking of speaking, yeah, nice. Anyways, you guys probably...
he just blew his own mind.
Yes. Wow, that was cool. Too much coffee. As you can probably tell, I was pretty nervous up there. I don't do a lot of speaking, but at the panel there in Icon, but that was a lot of fun. I could do that again, I think, but it's I definitely... Kyle, between the two of us, Kyle's the speaker between the two of us. He's good at it. You should have been on that stage.
I didn't think you were. I think it always feels worse than it looks, because I didn't think you looked nervous at all. So,
oh, good.
Yeah, and I know from experience, I always come off like, "Oh my God, it was horrible," and everyone's like, "You look fine. What are you talking about?"
It was also hard to have Amanda Holmes to the right of me and Ryan Dice to the left.
Yeah.
It was a bit intimidating.
You had some big wigs up there.
Yeah.
Now, Marcus, who was with Infusionsoft, who kind of connected us, he just made the move to digital marketer, and you guys are also a partner with Digital Marketer. So, can you tell us about what is Digital Marketer? Why did you guys partner with them, and what sort of value do they bring to your business?
Digital Marketer is a digital marketing training company. They train people how to be better at customer acquisition, at lead generation, at conversion, et cetera. And they train regular entrepreneurs and small businesses, and they also train agencies and marketers and consultants alike. So we originally came across Digital Marketer just as an opportunity to expand our own knowledge in the space. And after attending a couple of their events and connecting with Ryan Dice and with Molly Pittman and a couple of members of their team, when the invitation to become a Digital Marketer certified partner was extended as part of their beta release of that program, we jumped right on it. And it's been a really, really valuable experience. They've taught us sort of some of the things that they learned back when they actually were a service provider in the space. And that helped us save a little bit of time in terms of figuring out those mistakes for ourselves, and just also giving us sort of some of their own assets and experience and expertise in delivering these services to clients, which has saved us, like I said, a lot of time and made our services more valuable to our clients, and our clients have thanked us for it time and time again.
So is it that they help you be better at your job in terms of being a better digital marketer or learning new skills that aren't as easy to find somewhere else? Or is it that they kind of help you package up your services and sort of give you a better sales process to get clients easier?
It's both, actually, which is great. So they provide us a lot of tools that we can use to provide better services to our clients. Like, for example, they have a program called The Machine, which is one of their flagship products. And we have that available to us, unlimited licenses to use with our clients. So our clients get the benefit of a multiple $1,000 toolkit, basically, because they're working with us, because we're partners. At the same time, they educate us on how to better acquire our own clients. Like Lucas was talking about, they had an agency before that on their own. So they basically have provided us with, their proposal templates, their some lead magnets, some video, all sorts of, tools that we can use and modify and to fit our particular market and our particular needs that have really helped us step up our game. And we don't necessarily use everything, and we certainly had our own things before, and we've created more since, but it's sort of provided us a great, motivation and inspiration to use as a baseline for creating our own campaigns and process.
Well, another thing they've done that I read was you guys have been basically trained and certified on digital marketers' customer value optimization process. It maybe sounds a little jargony at the beginning, but maybe tell us what that is, the CVO, the customer value optimization process.
So CVO is all about building natural relationships with leads and customers. So very often you may see a company who says, for lack of a better way to say it, buy my stuff. Right. And, if you don't know that company, if you haven't had a positive prior experience with that company, that message can come across as really sort of inappropriate and poorly timed. So the CVO process is all about bringing in people naturally. And we sort of equate it to, dating. Right. So it's not asking for the kiss on the first date, if you will. So figuring out, how do you connect with customers on that first touch, and how do you then collect their contact information so that you can market them ongoing, and then how do you get that first sale so that have that customer relationship, and then continue to optimize that customer's value to you by providing additional value down the road for additional revenue.
Now, you were quoted, Jim, in I think it was a press release where you said that you saw firsthand how the CVO process can double a business almost overnight. Or actually, that was you who said that. So,
okay.
It sounds like the CVO process is actually, it's not going for the sale right away. It's not, it's not asking for the kiss, the minute you meet them, kind of nurturing a relationship. I guess, if you're doubling a business, I know it's kind of a hyperbole overnight, but how can you take a business so quickly, so quickly, with a process that sort of rewards a little bit more of a long game, if you will?
Well, the idea is that the reason why it's called customer value optimization is because you're optimizing at every point. So, for example, if you're bringing in twice as many leads, and twice as many of them are converting, and twice as many of them are upselling, and twice as many of them are referring friends, all those different points, that's how it really happens. And it can be more than double. The actual multiplier that they use is 16 times at every point, because it's 2 to the 5th, I think, which is 16. That's correct. Is that right? So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, because at every point you can double. And it's tweaking those levers just a little bit. Maybe even if it's not double, maybe it's even just like 10% at each point, and then you have a huge boost just from that little bit of effort. So that's where that comes from.
That makes total sense. Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, would you recommend other? I mean, I guess when something's kind of a bit of your special sauce, you know, you don't want too many competitors taking it and stealing it. But I mean, is it something that you would recommend for other small digital marketing agencies? Do you think they should explore partnerships more?
Absolutely. Yeah, partnerships have been invaluable to us in the growth of our business, especially from the early days. Just for the same reasons that we've mentioned and from the various partners that we've discussed on this call. It's been, it saved us time. It's brought us clients. It's, saved us the heartache and the pain of making mistakes that other people have already been through. So that there's a lot of benefits to partnership, and it's also about the relationship too. We enjoy working with these people. They're really great people to work with. They have our back and we have theirs, and it's just, I think, an essential part of doing business.
That's awesome. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for being on the show. We definitely want to link to your site in the show notes. For people just listening, you can check out visify.com, visify.com. And is there anywhere else that you want to send people in terms of any content you've produced or any offers or anything where they can learn more?
You're always welcome to go to our blog, where we have various articles about advertising, about marketing automation, tips and strategies that we use with our own private clients. And I think that's probably the best place if you're looking for digital marketing content.
And do you guys have any events coming up that you're hosting or you're going to be speaking at that you can share with us?
We'll actually be at Digital Marketers Content and Commerce a little bit later this year, as well as Infusionsoft's PartnerCon. So if you guys want to hang out there, shoot us a tweet or email us. If you go to our website, you'll find our contact information. But we will be hosting another one of our marketing roundtable events, I think, in another month or so here in New York City. So if you're in New York City and you're interested in learning a little bit more about digital marketing, hit us up.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, take care.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Agencies Drinking Beer. If you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you rate and or review us on the iTunes Store. If you have a story or lesson to share with other agency owners and managers from around the world, hit us up. Just email Kyle or Kevin at proposify.biz. And also, if you write business proposals and you want to make that process a whole lot easier and more streamlined, check out proposify.biz and sign up for a free 30-day trial. Cheers!